Alright guys, Molina's looking as perfect as a model should. Now I was watching this one video guys, it was terrible. It was about a supermodel that was 16 when she started. And then I guess she was, I'm not sure how old she was at this point, but she gained a bit of weight, so they didn't want to, they fired her. It was Ralph Lauren. They fired her. And so you're like, okay, well, that makes sense to some extent. I mean, you have to be really thin to be a model if you're not that thin. And she looked great. She was still beautiful, but she was just slightly bigger compared to models, right? Models are super thin, right? So she's like looking really, really good and everything, but she's slightly bigger, right? So they fired her, but before they fired her, they put up a picture of her with photo that was photoshopped, and they made her look exceptionally thin. And I'm like, this poor girl, like, I'm not sure if she's gonna have like eating disorder or whatever, but she's like really pretty. Like, she's like, she was once a supermodel or a model like of the highest order, darlings. For Ralph Lauren, you can't model for Ralph Lauren unless you look really, really good. So she's like, just like they made her, photoshopped her to look extremely thin. And I'm like, poor girl, like she's gonna have, and of course, that's just how the modeling agency works. That's just how modeling works. That they're very cutthroat and they're very, only the best, and you have to be your thinnest at the time you're modeling with them, right? You can't be any weight bigger. So I'm like, oh my god, this poor girl's gonna get a complex, darlings. All right, bye now. I don't remember what her name was, but she was very pretty, darling. But she did look a bit bigger. But I mean, who cares? But I mean, as a model, you have to be thin, darlings. Unfortunately, darlings. But no, I mean, I wish it was different. But model, when you're a model, you have to really be thin, unfortunately. And if she's too big to fit into the clothes, then they can't hire her, which makes sense. But it's just such a cruel thing. All right, bye now.